we're talking about raw versus geared lifting. I posed this question to Alan while we were preparing for this. So I go to this gym. I'm around geared lifters all the time. I am a raw lifter. Mm-hmm. I have put on a bench press shirt. Mm-hmm. When I put on the bench press shirt, I was able to put 505 pounds in my hand, go down to a 3-board, 4-board, whatever it was.
3-board or 2-board. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. Went down, touched, started to come back up. Okay? I can't do that if I'm raw. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I'm not as strong as 500 pounds and it's the shirt? What's the difference between me bench pressing 365 and me bench pressing 500 with a shirt on?
The shirt?
The shirt.
Yeah.
And why is that okay? You know what I mean? Like, people will look at that and say it's cheating.
Yep, some people, and you guys are out there. You guys out there in TV land, as soon as we put our shirts on, you fucking cheaters. The sport is powerlifting, and in powerlifting you have tributaries, mm-hmm. okay, offshoots, branches. And so powerlifting is the sport, and then over here you have raw, and over here you have gear. Mm-hmm. Now, on the geared side, I could branch that off even further, and we can go multiply, single ply, and now this new thing, the rubber shirts and the rubber suits that are coming out. Mm-hmm. Back over to raw, you have naked knee, you have knee sleeve, and you have knee wraps. Mm-hmm. You have some of the purists that are no belt, no wrist wraps, fucking pair of tighty whities and a singlet, and that's it. And maybe a pair of chucks. And those guys will look down on the belts and knee wrappers. So the funny thing is like there's been this huge thing between raw versus gear.
Right.
But even inside raw, you have fighters. You have people that are like, oh, fuck the knee sleevers, and the knee sleevers are, well, fuck you knee wrappers.
Right.
While these guys over here are like, fuck you geared guys.
Yeah, fuck all of you.
But even what's going on right now, which I love seeing this, is this side of multiply or gear, all right? The single ply and the multiply guys are like, fuck the rubber shirt guys.
Yeah.
And you see that going on. Because right now these guys are benching well into the 11s with these rubber shirts.
Right.
And, even over here, you have this turmoil built in, and you also, like I said, you have it built into these guys. Now, these guys are going to group up. You know, like, hey, let's put our differences aside. Naked knee sleeves, and knee wrappers. Let's go get the geared guys. Yeah. Which is fucking stupid. it's just different. So they're two totally different sports. You are squatting and benching and deadlifting, but
the movements are the same. Effectively,
essentially, yes. But what you asked, I bench 365 raw. I shirt bench 505. At what point is that not me? At 365.
What's my PR?
But what's the ask? What's the ask? You have 2 PRs. I have a raw PR at 365.
There we go.
I have a shirted PR of 505. Uh-huh. So quick math. What's me? What's not? Well, the 505 is not. The 365 is. Could you have gotten 370? Okay. So no. At 365. I got it. 370 fucking failed. I throw the shirt on. At the 365 mark, the shirt is now not you. Okay?
Right.
And even in that, like there's PRs. Jesus, man. If you write down everything like you should, you have people who will tell you, I have a slinger max, I have a slinger with wrist wraps max, I have a slinger wrist wrap 3-board max. And hey, that's great. Have a record for everything you do, all your variations.
I see that on all, like, the crew's Instagram. Yeah, everyone has a PR for everything.
This kind of sort of goes back to, I don't necessarily want to say it originated Westside, but Louis real big on it, is having a record for everything and go in that day and that variation. Like if you call out, say you're the first one here at the gym and it's like, hey Austin, like you were here first, what bar do you want? Swiss bar, 2-board, no wraps. Oh, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know what my best was, but keeping track of that. So at what point is the shirt taking over? The point at which I put the motherfucker on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like the point at which I have to put it on because I can no longer press weight raw. Is it wrong? No. You want to go be a shirted bencher.
Right.
You want to go learn the gear. You want to learn.
It's a different sport.
It's totally different. So the bar path is going to be.
So should they be compared?
Should they? In my opinion, no. Having been in both. I've only ever done one full meet raw, and I did a push-pull raw. And then I got right into gear, and my whole life now has been geared. Mm-hmm. Should they be compared? Absolutely not. They're 2 totally different sports. Mm-hmm. Okay? the way that you squat raw, and I'm not getting into the knees over toes. Like, if I offend you guys, Jesus, get your knees over your toes if you're a knee over toe guy and you have the mobility to do so. Not everybody's got to sit back and load their hammies and hips, but that's a whole other, we can talk about that later. But, you know, you're not going to squat the same way that I would in my briefs and or my suit. You're not going to bench the same way. And you see people that come over from the raw world who, like, we'll use you as an example, who come from the raw world. We throw a bench shirt on you. And we got to teach you bar path because it is different. But you'll see guys like you and women too who try to bench the same exact way in a bench shirt the way they do raw.
It doesn't work.
Good luck. That's a quick way to guillotine yourself.
Yeah, okay? It really doesn't work.
No.
I was shocked at the difference of how the lift felt when I wore the shirt.
Yeah, and where you may on a raw bench, all right, you're going to go pinkies on the bar, the bands, okay, or the rings. Yeah. In geared pressing, we start to take our shirted benching. We start to take our fingers out.
That was the thing that you had me to do. I started here, and you were like, no.
And you have to learn that. So somebody like you, we put you in a brand new shirt. You know, say we go get you a super katana, and you put that bad boy on, you know, and you're here used to pinkies on the rings. Your first time, I may just move you ring fingers and then middles and then trigger fingers all the way out. I may spend 2 weeks at each finger. It just depends on the lifter, but you have to learn that. That's different. Where that bar now touches, where do you pull it? Where do you drop it? You know, all these cues, all these words you're going to hear in different powerlifting circles. You have to know that. You have to learn that. So there is another learning curve. Whatever you learned to become a raw bencher, you have to not necessarily unlearn for geared lifting, but be willing to learn something new. Okay, so I kind of always equate geared and raw as if rugby and American football. Okay, similar in nature. You know what I mean? You got two teams. You got a ball. We're trying to kick uprights. We're trying to score touchdowns, end zones, things like that. But they're still at the root different sports. Right. Or we could even go so far and call them different dialects of a language. Sure, yeah. Okay, like that's a really good way of putting it. When I lived in Germany, you had Southern German, and then you had Northern German or High German, two totally different dialects. And friends of ours at the time would get around each other. Maybe they hadn't seen each other in 5-6 years, and go to speak, and there was some words. Man, Jody, I don't know what you're saying. Hey, Austin, you know, because your dialect is different. So we could go that route. You know, it's and. The learning to get better at each. And here's the thing, like even sometimes coming back out of the gear and going to the raw, you do sometimes have to relearn, like, okay, hey, I'm not that wide trigger finger person. I've got to go back and learn the bar path on a raw bench. So, you know, it takes some unlearning of your geared side to come back to raw. And some people they gravitate right back to it. So hurrah to you, you know? But,
so my next question then is, I know we just said we probably shouldn't compare them because they're two different sports.
In my opinion.
Sure. Which is more impressive, 1,000-pound raw squat or 1,000-pound geared squat?
So okay.
So because if we're gonna dive into it, let's fucking dive into it.
1,000-pound squat,
impressive on all fronts.
All fronts,
geared,
regardless,
raw, whatever. We've got a raw guy in here who does 1,000. We have a number of geared guys in here who do 1,000 plus.
To answer this, coming from the gym that I have here, both are equally as impressive. If I had to give my nod to which was the more impressive, I would go the raw route. Okay, you have less assistance. I'm not knocking my guys that squat a grand. Right, come stand it up. Yeah, and to come back to what I was just mentioning with learning. Okay, the guys that are squatting a grand, you may have to go a wider stance. You got to learn that. You know, right? Take somebody who's a narrow stance squatter, take them out to being wide. Off the first rip, you're probably going to fall backwards. Yeah, you're probably not going to be able to get it out of the J's because you don't know what your footing is. You don't know where your balance points are. It's new. I'm in new territory. So to kind of fence straddle like I like to do on these questions you present to me, the individuals in here who squat a grand in gear, the time that it took to learn is equally as impressive. It wasn't just overnight. You know?
If you put our guy who raw squats 1,000 and you put him in gear, he's not going to squat 1,000, probably.
The only person that stands out in my mind right now, and Jody, please correct me, is Dan Bell. And I don't know anybody else. So YouTubers, our followers, our 17 of y'all, Jody, Dan was the only one. Dan didn't even do a full suit that I remember.
No, he did briefs.
He did it in briefs only, and learned to go from his lifters to Chucks, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe Vans. He's the only person I know of that got out of 1,000 raw over to 1,100, which he sunk in the meet at Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
Took a crack at 12, still no suit, just in briefs.
And it would have gone, but his belt popped.
Yes.
I was calling that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You were announcing it. So he's the only one I know of to come out of 1,000-pound squat right into 1,000-pound briefs and still hit 1,000. I don't know if Hoff's done it. Merck just yesterday, Bob Merck at Merck 1776.
Nice.
Just hit a 905 raw squat. He's a easily 1,200 plus pound geared squatter, but he hasn't raw squatted in a couple years because he's been on a tear in gear. So his carryover, I'd like to see him at a grand. He would be the second person that I know off at the top of my head to come out of a grand raw into a grand gear.
Yeah.
But he did a grand first gear over to potentially raw, doing it raw.
Right.
CJ, to get him out of a geared squat, throw him in briefs. He may, just because of his base and who we are, and be able to teach him. But I can't answer that because we haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Yet.
Could
CJ
could he do it? He absolutely, just because of the athlete that he is, he could absolutely do it.
Sure.
But anybody that thinks, I squat 7, I watch you guys, cheaters, you throw your briefs and your suits on, I could go do 1,000. Okay, bro.
Do it.
Hey, first off, come do it.
Yeah.
Second off, you got to stand it up, man. And these guys that just think it's so fucking easy to stand 1,000 pounds up.
Right.
Good luck. True story. I just told this story to somebody today. The dude that originally got me into geared lifting, when we were at CTX, we were a raw gym. Like, we were raw. Like, we had no geared lifters.
Yeah.
I had
what the fuck happened?
Dude, literally, here it is. I questioned him at a meet, and I said, these guys, these squats, these raw squats, I see them, man, like these suits. And from what I knew of the suits back in the old West Side days when these motherfuckers were, they're all cranking out thousands.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing these guys go in suits, and they're big fucking dudes hitting 500 pounds. So I look at my boy Mike and I say, hey, like, what's up with their raw squat, their gear squat, things like this? And my boy John's there, and he's like, throw a pair of briefs on your suit, probably have to squat 9 in no time. I was like, done. And it was just being like, let's fucking do it. Like, challenge accepted. I want to see if I can do it. So we go in. He throws me a pair of loose briefs that I still have to this day, and we go and crack 9. And I remember walking into that session, and he was like, what do you want to see out of this? What do you want to do? I was like, dude, I'd love to squat 11.
There. Let's get back into it.
So we're talking about picking weight. All these guys that think, I squat 7, I could easily put on gear and come over and squat a gram with you guys. Like, okay, hey, come do it. First off, you got to crack a gram. All right, so I was telling you the story how I got into it. And my boy asked me, I was like, what do you want to see? I was like, dude, I want to squat 11. I was like, I want to squat 11.
Yeah.
I get under 9. I pick it. I squat it. I get it back in the rack. I turn around. Look, I don't want 11.
Yeah.
And he starts laughing. He's like, "Why?" I was like, "That motherfucker was heavy."
Yeah.
So it's all like, be motivated, but be humble at the same time. Like, here I am right off the rip, couple of sessions in. I'm like, I want 1100. But I got to stand that motherfucker. It starts with the pick. So, to these guys that think it's so easy to come over to the geared world, but hey, come over and show us how it's done. I'm open to learning from everybody. If you think you know better, hey, I'll learn, I'll listen. But, to you guys that just want to talk shit out there to the geared side, like come learn then. Be open-minded, also come learn. It's not as easy as people think. And, to the same in the bench shirts, hold 5, 6, 7, 8 over your face. You got to be able to hold that first off. So, to the people who bench 4, congratulations, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Hold 8. If you think the shirt is so easy and it does all the work, you know what I'm saying? Come hold 800 pounds in your hands. And you got to get it there first. The lift starts, from the handoff.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to hold 8.
Yeah.
And then listen to your crew yelling at you. And as long as I've been doing it, I still am learning. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm still listening. You may have seen something. You're not a geared guy. That doesn't mean you don't know shit. You've been around us. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to your cue, But I'm also not going to like, Austin, don't fucking gear lift. I ain't going to listen to him.
Right.
No, you see it. You listen to everybody. I'm very open. Like, hey, dude, what did you see? It's not all that easy as everyone thinks it is. You got pressure and you're coming down. So, more the merrier. Come over to us. Come learn.
Right.
If you think it's that easy to come stand 1,000 pounds up after your 700 pound squat, we'll load it up. We'll raise the safety chains.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a crack at it. It's not that easy. But on the flip of that, there are people out there, and some people have asked me, you kind of gravitate. It's like, dude, like what you mentioned in the other segment, running yokes. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was down there with Alan Colley training alongside him. And he was my coach, still is to this day whenever I come back to Strongman, but he was also my competitor. So he'd be like, oh, we can drop the weight if you need to. And I'm like, no, man, like, I gotta, this motherfucker would run, 1,000, 1,100, like nobody's business, 7 seconds, 8 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like, he turned around, he's like, we'll drop the weight if you want to. And I'm like, no, man, I gotta fucking learn.
Gotta do it.
So, I mean, I did 1,000-pound, yokes with this man. I think I took a crack at 1,100 with him, and I don't think I got more than 10 feet. True story on that one.
Yeah.
I think I did 360-pound farmers of hands. I think I got 35 feet.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker was blowing me out the water, but I had to learn. I had to compete with him. He was a competitor.
Yeah.
As well as my coach, So I think through training with him and running 1,000 pounds, kind of made it easy to pick 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
But now learn how to squat.
Like what I said in the last one, with me and having 535 on my back, I can pick that like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because of my training.
Yeah. So and in raw too. You got to learn how to squat. There is teaching. This is why people come over to us. They're newer lifters. They want to learn how to squat raw. So I still got to teach you, but the teaching you. If you listen to everything I taught you in raw lifting and did that same way in gear, it's not the same. You're not going to do the same. With a caveat, single ply. Okay? Single ply lifting kind of carries over to raw and back. Okay?
It rides the line
a little bit because you can kind of, in a single ply shirt and a single ply squat suit and deadlift suit, kind of mirror your same technique. And once again, individual. There are some people that drastically changes styles. But to take my raw people, men and women, and put them into gear and have you squat the same way, it ain't going to happen, man.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that shirt to let you touch high chest. You're not going to sit, down in the bucket the way we sit back in the bucket in gear. You're not going to be able to do that in multiply and be safe and still have knees intact and body. So, I will never compare the two because I've done both. And like I said, we have the naysayers out there that think, the condom suit.
Right.
You high box squatting motherfuckers. Come over to us.
Never hidden parallel.
Come over to us. Jesus, I joke, if you're listening, we have an Amanda and we have a Miana. If you've ever been fucking called by either of them, your nuts are hovering off the ground. Okay? And to anybody who's had to squat with them calling you, they know the fucking truth of that. So, we're not, we do. When we will squat high. When did you walk in and see me squat high? Was it 3 plates and I'm fucking, where am I at in my suit, my warm-ups? You probably did see me. I do need certain weights to push me down. Other people have said opposite of that. Whatever weights on the bar they can get down. My gear will not allow me down safely. So I do need certain weights to push me. But with that being said, we are held to the same standards as the raw guys when it comes to the rules. And dude, even in some of those, these USAPL, purists, you still see shitty lifts get passed. You see great lifts get turned down. So it happens in every federation, every sport, So
there's one more angle that I want to take on this, and we have taken it from the angle that you've probably gotten the most trash from, except you never get trash talk online.
Honestly, I've never had a hater anything about my lifts, which I don't understand why you guys.
Yeah,
you guys are just trying to do the same shit, man. You're just trying to be fucking better,
right? And
it does. It bothers me when you're like, oh, Austin, this and that. I'm like, dude, this motherfucker doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about, man.
Right.
And so that bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck made you think? Other than free speech, thought you wake up fucking. Chug a beer at 9 a.m. and talk shit about your lift. Like your 18-inch deadlift. Like, we'll feed them that one. Oh, the fucking event was an 18-inch deadlift. This motherfucker wants to know why Austin's pulling 18-inch deadlift.
Yeah.
Because it's the fucking event, motherfucker. That's why he's pulling an 18-inch deadlift.
Right. Yeah. But I'm going to come from it from a different angle. The geared guy who says anyone can do raw, and so it's not impressive.
Anybody, and I will put money on this. Anybody can learn to squat, bench, and deadlift raw. And in my opinion, everybody can learn to squat, bench, and deadlift in gear. It may take me longer to teach you in gear, and depending on the person coming to me raw, it may take me fucking forever to teach you raw. But to say that it's not impressive, in my opinion, out of this gym and who we lift with, is bullshit. To me.
Yeah.
A raw lifting is absolutely impressive. You're going to tell me that Julius Maddox bench pressing 800 isn't impressive. You're going to tell me that Ray Williams squatting 1058 and a pair of knee sleeves isn't impressive. You know, he's a humongous dude.
Yeah.
Still, that's not impressive. Like, trying to think, you're going to tell me that, Jamal Browner pulling 971 isn't impressive. You're going to tell me Kyler Woolham doing a 900 plus at 220, maybe even 198, but I think 220 isn't impressive. I call bullshit on that, man.
Yeah.
I think whoever says that, they're ego driven on that, and just don't want to give props where props are due, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anybody, you I don't give a shit what weight class. You squat a grand raw, super fucking impressive. Good job, you're pulling 9 raw, super impressive, and you're benching 5, 6, 7, 8. That's fucking impressive as shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to say that, I think is a little bit of the ego on that person's side, and and in my opinion, bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the moral of the story is everyone should be a little more humble and
100%.
and just cheer people on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone should be happy for like people making gains where they are making gains, because everyone's at a different spot.
And 100%. And to come back to segment 2, and I'm not saying this isn't, because this is up there at Perfect Storm, this is over there at Backbone, at OBB, my little bit of time there. But these motherfuckers in this gym, like you're never, nobody is ever gonna look at you and be like, well, Austin, nobody give a fuck about your squat because it was raw. You're never gonna get that here.
Right.
All right. Because it's not wanted in this place. That type of negativity is not wanted or warranted in this place.
Yeah.
But B, that's not what we're about. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing you grow, and that's what every motherfucker in here wants, is to see you grow. So humility, yes, but you're never gonna get looked at and be like, oh, you're just a raw lifter. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Because they could be like, oh, you geared lifters. Fuck off. But you're never gonna get that in this spot.
And if you are at a place that does that, you might want to think about going to a different fucking place.
And this is a topic you and I talked about a couple weeks ago, but bringing into it, like even the lady side, nobody's gonna be like, oh, well, you're a female, you don't, like I love when I've had women want to come over here. It's like, oh, do you have ladies? Yeah, I got ladies.
Yeah.
Our ladies are strong as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, come over. Like, just depends on what time you're here. It might be a fucking sausage fest, but for the most part, like, get over here and you see how the diversity of our group. And I'm not, once again, I ain't saying this to sell us at all. I'm saying it like you may want to find a place like that embraces, you know how much shit talk fucking USAPL gets? And I had a crew that was straight USAPL. I didn't give a fuck, man. Come lift. Come bring your USAPL membership to CTX and just fucking lift. Squat, bench, and deadlift. Nobody give a fuck. Nobody in there was like, oh, there's a USAPL crew. Nobody give a fuck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we're better than the next gym, but I'm saying as far as what you guys are looking for and and where your goals are going, you may want to go find a place like that embraces that you are a raw lifter. I am a geared lifter. We have strongman competitors, and we have people that come to this fucking gym that have never competed and don't want to compete.
Right.
But they still lift with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, humility. Just shut the fuck up and lift, man.
Yeah. Looking at all you Instagram, TikTok commenters.
Just shut the fuck up and lift, Keep comments to yourself if they're negative. Go build a motherfucker up.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on that. Is my rant over.
There you go. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. Tell you what, that was a good week.
Yeah. It was a great week.
Great week of conversation. We'll be back next week with more Stache and Beard Fitness Show. I'm Austin Pistulka. You can find me at Radio Guy Austin on Twitter, Instagram, and at Actually Average on TikTok. This is Alan Pilley. Alan, where can they find you?
Well, I'm looking at my mug here, and I always tell you guys you can only find me at Alan Pilley on Instagram, but you can also find me on at Lady Juice Beard Oil.
On IG, right?
On Instagram, not safe for work.
No, Mom.
Is your dad have a mustache or a beard?
No. My dad does not have any facial hair. My mom does. My brother has a. You saw
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. Mom, go to Lady Juice Beard Oil. Buy your youngest son a bottle of Pound Town. I apologize, Mom. There you go. But yeah, those are my two spots you can find me on.
You can find him. Subscribe. Hit the like button. We gotta go. Bye, motherfucker.
See you guys.